Remember those people that used to drink through their mask, or they'd cut a hole?
No.
The people who play their wind
Such a
instruments,
show.
their orchestra photos.
Oh yeah, the flute underneath, eh?
In your car on your own wearing a mask.
Oh,
What a
General
show.
thoughts on the COVID inquiry? Didn't really turn up much, did it? Other than we spent $30 billion, it's sort of shouldn't have been spent. And that if they could do it again, they'd do it differently, according to Hipkins.
I mean, if the standard was what did other countries do, then I'm not sure that it's going to be that helpful, right? We can pat ourselves on the back and say, hey, overall, our deaths, versus other countries' deaths that were directly attributed to COVID, sure. And I'm not going to say like that doesn't matter, but there's obviously a lot of debate around what actually could be attributed to COVID specifically, and whether it was more a knock-on effect, a secondary effect of the lockdowns, and then the kind of allocation of resources and so on.
Or was it Brooke Van Velden that sort of was in the news for saying that we put too high a value on individual life at the COVID?
Yeah,
period of
there's a measure. I don't know if it's the Treasury. I think it is Treasury.
It wasn't that high, eh? It was like 1,500 or something. Was it more than that?
It's like
high.
it's like 1.5. It's like 1.5 million or something. But it's
Yeah.
like a statistical value that they put on a human life so that they can measure the quantitative value of a policy. So they say if 100,000 people die, that will cost the economy 1.5 million times 100,000. All right. Now, if we impose this policy, it'll cost the country $1 billion, and then they'll do the maths on that. But that's.
But I mean, that's like kind of Rain Man maths, eh?
Yeah, I mean, you could
He
give me a
doesn't
calculator
know
in 40 years.
He doesn't
and I
know the
wouldn't be able
cultural
to-
reference.
I don't know. I don't know what Rain
Rain
Man is,
Man.
but
I'm probably
Don't
not even going to go
explain it to him.
down.
Don't
I'm not
explain
going to
it to him.
explain this because I'm going to get myself in trouble talking about autistic stuff.
I was just
But
talking.
anyway.
I was just talking to someone at Jiu-Jitsu, and they brought up. We were talking about digital ID and surveillance, and they brought up Tom Cruise. They're like, "Oh, it's like from that Tom Cruise movie,
Minority Report.
Minority Report."
Yeah.
Right.
It's a great science fiction book as well.
Yeah.
It's based on that.
And then this kid who's 18 next to us goes, "Oh, yeah, Mission Impossible," and it's like, mate, if you only know Mission Impossible for Tom Cruise, well, you haven't lived. Anyway, that was so far out of what we were talking about. COVID inquiry, which was a bit of a war machine in itself, wasn't it?
It was. But it's just been a lot of like he said, she said. So Simeon came out and said, look, the ministers were told that if you give 12 to 17-year-olds 2 doses of the vaccine, there's a risk of myocarditis and it'll be bad for their hearts. And then Hipkins stands up and says, we were never told that. I didn't know about that. The information never got to us. And so it's just like, well, he said, she said.
Who was responsible for passing all that information?
Ministry of
Pfizer and-
Ministry of Health.
Ministry of Health.
And apparently the Ministry of Health didn't. But
That's
they also
major,
have this.
that's a major problem, though, in
Oh, no,
itself, right? Because if there's no paper trail, there's no clear record keeping
There's a
showing
document.
that.
They might have
There's
just
a
read it on the back of
document.
the car.
There's a document that they have, and
It's a pretty big
Aisha
detail,
Verrill
right?
or something has written. She was a minister. This is all
she was
on
a
Heather
minister.
Duplessis Allen. She's literally on the paper where it says there is a risk of this heart disease. She's got like written on there. Oh yeah, this is a thing. And now Hipkins.
She did know.
Well, that's what. Yeah, exactly. My understanding is, I'm pretty sure they knew. But to come out and say, hey, don't give it to your 12 to 17-year-olds because it's bad for their hearts, but everyone else, you guys should have it because it's fine. Of course, the government would never say that, especially when there's people out there, quote unquote conspiracy theory saying the vaccine is going to kill you and it's a 5G tower. So they would
But
never.
how many young, fit people have had heart issues?
So
I saw,
many.
The New Zealand golfer.
Yeah,
Just
Michael
recently-
Campbell.
Michael Campbell come in.
Yeah.
He had heart condition. A friend of mine from
He
Wellington,
literally dropped off the international scene as a golfer,
he's only just come back.
and it's like
Wow.
for years, yeah.
A friend of mine, I didn't even know this, but he was in hospital with heart palpitations. He's a police officer. But yeah, he had heart issues and he's super fit, does CrossFit twice a day.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
My dad had a heart attack 3 days after his boost.
Yeah. His booster. So he got the first two and then, yeah.
He wondered maybe
Yeah.
if it had something to do with it. It's
When-
hard to know
when
anecdotally, right?
When you're dealing in those numbers of rollout, there are going to be coincidences,
Sure.
but there are also going to be things that we can draw a correlation to. There's causation and there's an effect.
Yeah.
The thing I saw today from ZB was that they were starting to advise that a booster should be rolled out in line with the flu jab as well. That it will become like that's the
Flu
recommendation.
plus.
Flu plus COVID booster.
Because there's another strain at the moment, right?
Who
That's-
cares?
that's reasserting itself.
There's been strains for bloody
Well,
millennia.
my point is,
diarrhea or something. I don't know.
yeah. But what I'm saying is like the influenza's always been a challenge as well. I mean, our elderly
Yeah.
people are vulnerable, especially through the winter and stuff.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
get the flu, it can kill them. And so there are like genuine things we have to do with our health system to try and prevent that and keep on top of it. I'm not saying we should like elevate COVID above the flu. I think it's obviously now one of those things that we go, well, it's a virus like the flu. Does that mean we do nothing about it? I don't think that's a good idea, but I certainly don't think like rolling it out and having these mandates was a good idea.
Like I was 17, 18 when all this was happening. I
forget you were a baby.
I wasn't even born, basically.
He was part of that generation that whole education was meant to be screwed up because they couldn't go to school.
Yeah.
That explains a lot.
Right.
Carry on.
Yeah.
And this living
And they're right. Like, and at the time, I just went along with everything. Oh, I'm home. I get to study from home, and it was all fine. And there's these weird conspiracy theorists. Now I look back and I think that was an insane. Like having, I don't know, I'm a bit more politically aware than I was 5 years ago. To think that we just let that happen, and the government forcibly medicated millions of people.
Yeah,
but this is the point. When you see the rest of the world also trying to figure it out and trying to lock everything down or kind of cordon things off. And we're like, well, we're in a geographical sort of position that allows us to isolate completely and have these very stringent border measures. Then we're like, let's do it, right?
Yeah.
Because there's that look, the view of overseas, and like they're doing it too.
Solidarity, global solidarity.
But
team of
it's
7 billion.
But it's a bit of a cop out. Again, I wouldn't want to have been in Wellington trying to make those decisions.
No,
I think most of us. Well, I think at the time, I think most of us would have gone, whew, I tip my hat to you, like this is
especially
tough.
at the start. I think
This is tough stuff.
Sure.
But yeah, certainly at the start. But from my view, maybe now in hindsight, it's easy to kind of judge, but we should never just go, what are people doing overseas? That's the whole problem with the social media ban. It's like all these other trends in politics, right?
They did it. I'm going to do it.
Civil liberties ultimately have to be worked out in your context because there are some things culturally, politically that are different, unique in your situation. And also too, in terms of our geography, right? We had this head start that other countries didn't have.
Yeah.
And we were able to obviously initially capitalize on that and lock things down. Yeah. And it's I think the really legitimate criticisms really follow from that first year. Right. That first year, hey, everyone was in the dark. Everyone was trying to find, a way through this.
Yeah.
Overseas and here. But it's once people got a taste of power and once they thought, hey, actually everyone's looking at us because we're still having like 660 concerts, and everyone's out there and no one's wearing a mask. Whereas countries like the US have got like hundreds of thousands of people in hospital, hey, let's really capitalize on this.
But it was all fake because it was like, oh, we're doing such a good job. Meanwhile, sentiment was getting worse and worse among people and between the government and people, right?
Well, when you say it was fake, like what part of it do you mean?
Because the world was celebrating us as like this amazing case study of how to handle COVID properly, but the general population drifted from that pretty quickly.
Yeah, but I would say after the first year, because remember the Labor government got this massive mandate,
and the Auckland experience was very different to the rest of the country's experience.
Auckland was crazy.
Two different experiences.
Didn't the inquiry reveal that Auckland was kept in lockdown way longer than recommended?
Like 30 days longer than. This, I've heard 5 days, and I also read 30 days. So regardless,
who'd you hear 5 days from?
Both on the news, both on radio.
They're
One was
liars,
like
mate.
5 days too long. The other one was, but there might be two different events. But 30 days longer than it needed to be in level 4 lockdown.
I just can't believe that this is all the hoo-ha, right? When the government came in, the coalition government came in, it was like release the inquiry straight away, and then Brooke sat on it for over a year. She's been on it for ages. So. Is this what we've been waiting for the whole time?
Well, there was a phase 1 inquiry, which the previous government commissioned, and that didn't include kind of some of the vaccine mandates and some of the money. It was like an inquiry into basically nothing. Because
they left out the most contentious aspects of the investigation.
And wasn't there some money that changed hands between the likes of Johnson & Johnson, Pfizer to embargo certain things for up to 70 years?
Well, that's right.
Oh,
so
the contract that's been signed between the government and Pfizer is embargoed for 100 years.
Yep.
See, what are we doing?
That doesn't help that doesn't help the case.
That's not the same thing as a drug company going, oh, we want to protect our intellectual property for 5 years, right? Before the medicine becomes generic,
years
right?
all
in
dead.
India, like companies in India are making it for like a tenth the price. This is a totally different concept.
Imagine what? So we're 5 years on. So in 95 years, when we're all dead,
All
they'll be
dead.
like, oh, remember those guys in 2020?
It hasn't even been 100 years since like Roswell and the Kennedy assassination, and we
Exactly.
know
We don't know
like
anything about it.
well, we know all the stuff about those things now. That even
I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but
Rick
it doesn't
wasn't even
help.
last that long because with the Kennedy thing, there's redacted versions of redacted versions of redacted versions. There's like no original copies left.
Wow.
So we'll never know anything about the MLK assassination, about the JFK assassination. There's so much that's in
It's
the
so
dark.
that politicians and policymakers like in Wellington could ensure that not only were they physically safe, but their children too. You know, like
Unreal.
revisiting
Yeah,
upon
yeah,
the
yeah.
fond future generations.
yeah.
I don't know. What's the logic to it? I don't
help.
get it.
It doesn't help the conspiracies.
Oh.
It just and it doesn't help us when we're advocating for democracy and for peaceful protest.
yeah,
And then they
no,
do
yeah,
stuff like
yeah.
this, and people are like, "No, we should burn it down." And then we're like, "Listen,
Yeah.
we understand what you're saying, but is
Don't
it
burn
really-
it down because there's a contract that they've got in the safe in
Yeah,
there,
yeah,
and we
yeah,
need to know
yeah,
what it
yeah.
says.
It is redacted heavily on the only original copy, but we might be able to highlight our way through it. No.
David Seymour on the House was because all the leaders gave their speech.
Yeah.
David's speech was great.
Oh, your hero. Carry
But
on.
Not even my. No, he's not my hero. He's not my hero. But he said anyone can quarantine an island on the other side of the world, but not anyone can figure out what to do after they've quarantined and taken billions and billions of dollars out of the thing. And then he called Chris sensitive Hipkins.
Yeah, I saw
And he
that.
said
Why did they call him Chris? What does that mean? Chris sensitive.
Chris sensitive.
Yeah.
He's
Why is that?
he's a sensitive guy.
His
He's
nickname.
a little
He
sweetheart.
could have gone harder on that
You
nickname.
reckon? He said if Chris Hipkins, when he was Minister of Police, crime went up. When he was Minister of
true.
Education, no one went to school.
It's true.
When he was Prime Minister, debt went through the roof. And he said if he ran a funeral home, no one would die because he screws up everything he touches. So
Saw that.
I thought it was quite
Someone
funny.
said to me yesterday he's got the reverse Midas touch, and everything he does
What's
turns to shit.
yeah.
Who? Hipkins.
So speaking of leaders and debates and talking,
Mm.
you went to the University of Auckland Student Association
That's right.
hosted leader debate. That was a mouthful.
Well done. That was well
It's
said.
It's actually Auckland University
Auckland
Students
Yeah,
Association.
Auckland University Students Association.
Yeah,
Shout out to
AUSA.
them. Shout out to our friends at the AUSA.
Hosted by Jack Tame as well. He was the
Mate, how was
moderator.
Jack?
he was fantastic. He was the real star of the show at
He was
the end.
adjudicating, was he?
Yeah, he was adjudicating, asking
Or
the
moderating.
questions, moderating.
Yeah.
When the event finished, everyone went over to take photos with him.
But
no
do you know
one,
what?
No one cared about the other.
Do you know what the difference between Jack and all of those guys are? He actually reads before he shows up in a room.
Mm.
He does his research. Those other
good,
bozos are like,
Yeah.
well, you
Hey,
know.
I mean,
what
I
I'd
don't-
say to you,
I don't
is-
agree with I don't agree with everything Jack Tame does with Q&A, but he is very well informed.
He's a good man.
Yeah.
He's good at his job, and he's been
Oh,
really good in the past.
We get
few
it. You
years.
love David Seymour and Jack Tame. We get it.
I don't. Look, there's only.
Is David Seymour's girlfriend Iranian as well? Is that why you love her?
yeah. Has he got a girlfriend?
He's got a fiance.
Oh, good on him.
Yeah.
Good on him.
Do you reckon we'll get invited to the wedding?
Very, very wealthy
Is
individual.
she now?
Yeah, yeah.
What's her
Businesswoman. Forgotten.
name?
I've met her once.
Really?
Yeah.
Where's she get the money from?
I didn't ask her. I didn't know she was wealthy. I just said hello.
Yeah.
That's,
I was
that's
trying
good,
not to be a bother.
That's good wealth.
Moved on.
Can't tell.
Well, yeah. How do you tell what someone's wealth is in?
Well, you know, some women they like to wear their Chanels and their Victorias.
Yeah,
and
but
their-
often when they dress like that, their wealth's in their husband.
I mean, look, guys.
how do you mean?
I think the main thing that matters is that they both love Hayek and Friedman. So.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you know what I heard someone say the other day?
Two great men.
It's that saying that behind every successful man is a woman. You know, sort of the thing of like, successful men have women because they're successful men.
Yeah.
You don't see any women
Oh.
behind unsuccessful men. Anyway, the leader debate. Now that we've been misogynistic, racist,
Cutting
and
that.
anything
all
more,
of the above.
and all of the above.
It was good.
Yeah.
It was very energetic, very strong. The
Who was
moment
there? Give us a
Chloe was there from the Green Party. Kule was from the Opportunity Party, not the Top Party. Opportunity Party. Minister Goldsmith, Paul Goldsmith from Thingy, and then Arena Williams from the Red Party.
People really rate her. Was she any good?
She was pain. And then
Well, that's a pretty in-depth analysis.
Just reminding everyone that we're non-partisan.
I'm very part of that.
No, so Arena Williams
and then
Simon
from
Court.
Simon Court from yes,
Yep.
he was
Yeah.
fantastic as well.
I like Simon.
And then from New Zealand first was that
The guy who came up to us, eh?
Yes, yeah, I forget his
Yeah.
name.
He's an older gentleman, isn't he?
older gentleman.
He's
I
a
should
doctor.
find he's a doctor.
He-
As in like a PhD
So
doctor.
he was on one of our select committees.
Find his
Andrew
name
something,
quickly.
Yeah, he was on our communications and other regulatory
Yes.
bills.
Yes.
Yeah.
He came up to us at the airport and
Yeah.
was like, "Oh, fantastic submission! Keep it up."
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
guys."
that's
I
right.
really like what you
Yeah.
had to say. So, thank you to Dr.
Here we go. 30 seconds. It's coming.
30 seconds.
Dr. David Wilson.
Shout out to
Thank
Dr.
you.
David Wilson.
Right, right.
David Wilson. Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
going to be honest. I had never seen him before we went to that.
No,
select
neither.
event. Never
No,
seen him
no,
in my
no,
life.
no.
And yeah, but no, thank you for the
Super
kind words.
great guy, sweetheart, really
what did he
lovely.
say at the debate?
No one won the debate. He certainly lost the debate.
Oh, what did he say?
he,
What did he
but
say?
he just rambled on about like growth, and then towards the like, he just rambled. There was no cohesion in much of the stuff he said. Partly because no one really knows what New Zealand First stands for.
I do.
What do they stand for?
Whatever I think's important.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
they want my vote.
Yeah,
Okay.
because they just want to be popular. And then when they asked,
It's what's popular at the Lions Club and the RSA.
yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah,
That's exactly right. And then towards the end, they asked him because he was going on about how important it is to save money and create wealth, and we shouldn't waste money. And then they asked him, "Oh, if we shouldn't be wasting money, why are you doing this English language bill?" Like,
Got him.
they actually got him because he did not have an
Yeah.
answer for that. He's like, "Well, because we do business in English." Everyone was just like,
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it last time. It's a bit of a non-event, eh? So, Chloe, what do you reckon? I know you're her biggest fan. So,
She's so angry and resentful, but
were there many of her constituents there?
emotion. Oh, the moment she walked into the room, screams and clapping and jumping and shouting, and people tearing their clothes off.
Was she giving some of the "from my heart to you"? Was she giving some of
Yeah,
that?
yeah. So, nah, none of that. None of that. With her big. Yeah. Anyway, very angry lady, but she give it to her. Articulate woman. She knows what she stands for. Lots of head shaking. The moment anyone
She loves
says-
a head shake.
She loves a head shake. She's got such an expressive face because
Got eyebrows.
she's better than everyone else.
You and her.
Imagine having been her dad when she was a teenager, eh?
I don't think he would have cared.
I won't say what I was
He's
going to
rich
say.
enough to not care.
Well, just the attitude, the sass that you would have got back, eh?
Have you seen her dad?
Was he
He's
around?
like mega wealthy.
Really?
He's a fund manager.
No.
Yeah, look him up. And in his bio on the web company that he works for, he says,
No.
"Really proud of my daughter Chloe, who's done her masters in politics or something, or BA in
No.
politics."
Aw.
And now she's a local MP or candidate. I don't know when they updated it last. I'll send you the link.
She's renounced all earthly possessions except for her shares in
Yeah,
how many
yeah,
different
every
funds?
every other fund.
Wow,
that's
yeah,
on
what
the
was that? Was
planet.
that your list of donations that you sent through?
No,
No,
that was
no,
the
that's like
assets.
personal assets. And,
MP's assets. There was a list.
Mm.
and she's just like she's put money into like 12 different funds.
To be fair, that's
Investment
probably what a lot of
funds?
our KiwiSaver
But-
funds actually.
Yeah,
do.
But let's be
So-
honest. Why would we, beyond obviously being hypocritical, good on her? You know what I mean? I'm actually like, yeah.
No, totally.
Like-
but it's hypocritical.
Yeah, I know.
Capitalism's bad until, I'm not
Are we,
allowed to
are
put
we,
money
are
into
we
it.
actually oversimplifying your argument though when we say that?
Probably. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it depends on who we're talking about here.
In my head, she's a communist.
Okay.
I can see that.
She would.
Let's move out of your head. Let's move to a
No,
non-partisan.
objectively speaking, like you were to look at not so much a personality like Chloe, but you look at the Greens, and there's obviously a lot of different views within the Green Party. But as for their policies, yeah, of course, there's like what you might describe as communist or at least,
resentment.
or at least very, very much a state-controlled sort of
Yeah.
approach. But I don't know that that means that they all necessarily like throw off the idea that there should be some freedom in the market. So I think like we don't want to create a straw man, right?
Yeah.
Even
No,
if they've
sure.
helped
No, no,
us,
totally.
even
No,
if
no,
they've
we
helped
don't want
us,
to. I will, but
create that stereotype.
personal. Yes, no, totally.
They
totally,
haven't
totally.
exactly like won a lot of middle New Zealand or
No, they haven't. No,
Yeah.
no. Although it's really terrible that they have the green name because I love the environment,
sure.
But
You?
when was the last? I do love the environment. Well, I go to the beach sometimes.
Yeah, but they get that criticism a lot though, right?
Well,
That they don't talk about the green stuff.
They might be at the climate
Yeah.
protests and the marches, but what actual legislation since James Shaw left the party have they really been pushing?
She comes
aggressively
out
in
on
Parliament
Monday and
that's
she's like, "We've got a
environmental?"
policy where we're going to make 40,000 jobs in the green economy.
40,000.
40,000 jobs. The government's
Yeah.
going to make 40,000 jobs. You know what happened when they got asked, how are you going to do it? They said, oh, it's in the policy. Well, how are you going to do it? Oh, well, we'll just do it.
Yeah.
So I have ideas. I'm going to make a job for everyone in this country where everyone's earning $1 billion.
Yeah.
Don't ask me how.
No, I'll tell you exactly how they're going to do it. Ask me. Hey, guys, I'm going to create 40,000 jobs in the green economy.
Oh, whoa. How are you going to do that?
Well, I'm going to up everybody else's tax and just make everyone a state employee. And we're all going to work for Doc and we're going to go around and look at friends together.
For about 3 weeks until we
let's
run out
say
of money.
for a moment
Yeah.
that they weren't going to do that, right? Just
Yeah.
add, to the list of civil servants in this country, the state employees. But like what does that mean though? Is it actually a net gain like of 40,000 jobs, or are they saying
Repurposing.
as we phase out fossil fuels and coal and all that stuff, that those people in those sorts of jobs?
Sorry, clean, beautiful coal, but continue.
Thank you,
That's
thank you,
okay.
President Trump.
Yes, yeah.
Are they going to then
True.
transition those people into the clean energy sector?
Maybe.
Because that's not actually a gain of 40,000.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah, no, totally.
So how do they arrive at that figure? I mean,
No one
It
knows.
seems unclear.
They don't know. They don't know.
But going
themselves.
back to this question, right? We saw a lot of communists last week, and when I say a lot of communists,
Less than I
a
expected.
small proportion of the students that we talked with
Probably
would have
10.
yeah
Let's say
a very small number of the total that we talked to would have said I really think communism was onto something. Most of them were like social democrats, which is a pretty like long. It's a has been a pretty mainstream kind of view in New Zealand for a long time,
Sure.
right, since the 1930s. But when it comes down to it, like, what are they actually advocating? The Greens, when it comes to fiscal policy, when it comes to how we manage like employment or unemployment, job creation, a livable income, because these are things that
Bigger
will,
government, more taxes.
well, we can say that, and yes, in principle, that's what they're doing. In practice, that's probably what it'll look like.
Yeah.
But are they actually taking away freedoms that are associated with systems like communism, right? Where communism obviously takes away civil liberties, takes away personal freedoms.
I actually think yes. I think if you play out their position to the nth degree, that they'll come in and say we are responsible for all,
Of course.
children education and activity. Don't worry about it. We'll look after it because we are the caring and wonderful state.
So from the cradle to the grave, right?
Yeah.
That's the old-fashioned kind of socialist appeal, right, or argument.
And they would limit topics within universities without a doubt. They would limit conversation. There would be very little to zero academic freedom. There would be only prescribed media available in New Zealand. Probably all, like if you go on TVNZ on demand. Yeah, you go hate speech laws. You go on TVNZ on demand right now, and I'm trying to find like, where's Puff and Rock? For anyone who's got children, you're not Puff and Rockers.
Yeah.
Why do I have to scroll past my spicy sexuality, my ADHD life, my autistic adventure? Like, what are all of these rubbish?
Yeah.
I don't care if Guy Williams has autism. He didn't have it when I knew him 10 years ago. So he was all right back then. What's wrong with him now?
Listen, some of us have some mental health issues, and that's what I'm going to say about it.
I know a lot of people with mental health issues, yeah.
Yeah, but no, what I was going to say is that I think this is where the Greens have completely broken ranks with the old guard of the Green Party. And most of them have passed away now, like Rod Donald, Jeanette Fitzsimons. These were the early Green Party leaders, right, who made quite a significant impact in environmental policy in this country. Good or bad, whether you're a farmer and you're like, oh, mate, they basically just made my bottom line more difficult because I had to now do things that I didn't have to do before in terms of compliance. But actually, a lot of people have gone, no, you know what? Some of those early policies, they made sense. Water quality, things like that. We all have to kind of...
Can I just say as well, I feel like farmers get a bad rep for being like, they're portrayed as heel draggers on a lot of this environmental stuff. They're real open to it. Like farmers
they are now.
Yeah, but
and I think
they've done a great job, have they not?
And I think that's the thing is like, again, farmers have been stereotyped.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people. When I used to lease a farm for about 5 years, and I would talk to farmers all the time and be quite surprised that actually they were really concerned about the water quality in the rivers.
What affects them?
Yeah, like their dairy farms, do they want the runoff going in there? Nah, because their kids actually want to go and swim in the water hole or down in the river, or down at the beach where the river runs out. So you got people like that who are not all just like, right wing, militia kind of types at all. Most farmers in New Zealand are actually pretty sensible, pretty keen to preserve the environment around them, right?
And why should they do it for nothing? Well, why can't they have any commercial interest?
They feed us, man. Like, come on.
They feed more than New Zealand.
Yeah.
That alone though is not enough of an argument, right?
What do you mean?
Well,
For what?
Are we saying that there shouldn't be some regulations in some industries?
No, of course there should be, but why do we always vilify them? And when I say we,
I agree with
mean
that. Yeah, sure.
Politicians,
Don't vilify them.
regardless of whether they're green, red, or blue, it seems that farmers are always copping a lot here with the environmental stuff.
Yeah, but it's not enough to say though they feed us and therefore let them keep doing it in the way that they have been, because it could mean, for instance, like in the US, they've learnt the hard way. Unfortunately for them, they've learnt the hard way that a lot of the fertilizers and pesticides and things like that have actually had a pretty negative impact. China has learned this very, very, severe lesson.
Oh.
I think even farmers in the US have begun to go, no, actually, we went overboard with this stuff because it was producing like maximum profits for us and so on. So like we need a more sustainable system.
But farmers are so innovative, and I know this is a bit of a in topic. Clarkson's farm, but you look at the Dyson. The guy who owns Dyson has has this huge farm in the UK where they do this really innovative machine building and designing to try and make farming more efficient. And they do all these things like airflow and purity
so
and
much tech
harvesting.
involved. Yeah.
The amount of money that farmers will invest in new technology, new machinery, new equipment, I just don't understand where this whole idea. It's an outdated
Sure.
view that they are pillaging the environment for commercial gain. No, they are like reinvesting so much of the profit they make into making their farms more effective, better for the environment. And sure, they might be being forced in one sense by regulation, but in large part, every farmer I've ever heard talk is, like you say, so passionate about a clean environment.
Yeah, and they have to figure out how their industry, how the farming, agricultural sector can carry on, right? It's got to have a future. So they don't want to shoot themselves in the foot either,
No,
right? There's a practical aspect to this. I guess coming back to my point about the Greens, they like parted ways with that old guard, right? And James Shaw was probably the last of that kind of very environmentally
Sensible,
focused.
yeah.
He's actually a pretty clever guy. Again, I've
I'm
never,
sure, yeah.
I've
As is
personally
Colin,
never
she's
voted for the
incredibly
Greens.
clever.
Yeah. But I would say that there was certainly a fair amount of respect for people like James Shaw. The difficulty is it's not just that you have young people coming into politics now with no prior experience, in the workforce, with kind of like actual life experience to bring. They've also come in with this really sort of embedded ideology, right? That they've got through uni, that they've got through certain protest and activist groups. The difficulty is now they're not introducing real environmental policies that actually have a practical benefit to this country. Other than hey, we're complying with something that people overseas have agreed to. What does that mean for us there? How does that translate into our everyday lives? How does that help farmers actually continue to produce food for our country in a way that's sustainable, that doesn't kill the environment? So I think that the Greens have gone so far away from that vision now.
My contention would just be that, and I totally agree they have. My contention is just that the old guard had within itself the seeds of today's Green Party. I just think
Sure.
it's the Mother Earth worship that initiated, the start of it, just leads you naturally along to
And I think
the current Greens.
I think yes, I think that's one of the big influences, and I think that a lot of the people that helped start the Greens when they were first kind of emerging in the 90s, they were 1960s student radicals themselves, and so a lot of them had ended up at that point thinking, okay, environmentalism, that's the way to go. I don't know what the future is for the Green Party in this country, but
I think it's probably like 1 or 2%.
Please,
well,
please.
I think there's room. That's why I think there's room for this Opportunities Party to come in.
Yeah,
Greens are like 11%.
If they can organise,
it's unreal. I have
no, I'm saying if they can organise themselves, though, Opportunities Party will appeal to those who are a little less like, let's wear the keffiyeh and march down the street, and more like, what, I don't know about international politics, but I do know that my wallet's taken a hit. That I can't really fill my car up and actually buy the groceries as well. Stuff like that. People are looking for an answer to that question.
Yeah.
10.5%, sorry.
What are they?
10.5% on the poll from Friday last week.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's a natural transition. I mean, we didn't really cover all of the leaders at the debate, but we got some good ones there. And that's fine.
Yeah.
The poll. Is he staying? Is he going? The media, obviously, they went into overdrive. How many stories did we see about Lux-in getting rolled or Lux-in stepping down? Or did you think about it over the weekend? And he was, I saw one headline that was like he had given some sort of weak yes. And then I listened. It wasn't a weak yes at all. He seemed pretty confident.
He just said, I'm
I'm focused on the
thinking
future
about
for my
that,
children and my grandchildren. And that was a weak yes.
Because this is not the first time people have gone, is his leadership in question?
Chris
Oh,
Bishop's
they
gonna
want him
take
out.
over.
Yeah. They
So
want
he's
him out.
been getting that for like at least 6 months, probably longer.
Yeah.
100%.
Duncan Garner just before Christmas was like hammering this message on his podcast, but like nothing happened.
So I think the consensus amongst logical, rational people is he's not.
No.
You can't get rid of him before the election.
Of course.
Even if they wanted to internally. Let's say
who replaces him?
exactly.
There's
nobody.
no obvious
And
contender.
also just the image that presents, that we're a disunited, lost group of people who don't know how to run ourselves like the Māori Party. And,
No, do they scrape by and win and then maybe replace him?
Yeah.
Potentially.
Yeah.
At which point, even though I wouldn't want this, I'd say my money would be on Stanford.
Real?
Yep.
Not Willis.
I think no, because Willis has done a horrible job with the economy. She brought more money than Grant Woodson.
I don't know.
Which is
Yeah.
I don't think she's done a horrible job.
no, but as basically as 2IC, she's
She's
too
shanked.
close. She's too close to Lux-in right now in terms of
in that
performance.
sense, sure. Yeah.
Erica
yeah.
Stanford has done a reasonably good job with education.
She's done a great job with
She's
education.
had
Yeah,
some
yeah. No,
tricky
she's done
things.
very well.
immigration, she's done a reasonable job. She is a huge component of the 16 ban. And if we move away from her work, her output, the optics, she's young, fresh-faced. She's
Woman.
Yeah, she's a woman, so she's completely different to Lux-in. It's a huge change without having to give up.
Yeah.
A
And she's a
position of
strong
power.
character.
Yeah, and Bishop
sharp.
and Willis and even Simeon. Like Simeon, probably my personal preference, or I was going to say Pink, but he's way down. But Simeon probably my preference. But I
So you're a
think,
national voter.
am I a national voter? I don't actually disclose who I vote for. I will vote for national this year. I'll say that out right now.
Really?
Yep. No,
See?
I won't.
I was shocked. I was like, no way.
I'm probably going to vote
None of your business.
Yeah.
Inziak Labour. No, but so I mean, what do you think about? Well, you're familiar with National. You know them?
He's sticking around as far as I'm concerned. He's not going anywhere.
Should we call him?
Yeah. I've got his phone right now. Lux-in. Nah, he's sticking around. I think it's just the media playing games. Good luck trying to get him out.
He's sticking around as long as his caucus keeps him around.
I think his caucus. Yeah, I know, but I think his caucus
I
like
think,
him.
I think never say never, because hey, National have made some pretty stupid decisions in the past about leadership and gone through like a really roller coaster kind of ride. I mean, you think about Todd Muller and
Bill English and Simon
and Collins and
Collins,
all of that just
4 and 3 months,
completely.
whatever. Yeah.
What about Shane Reddy? And
So
he's
just
stepping out.
announces,
He's out.
So yesterday, Shane Reddy announces he's retiring at the election. Huge media circus. Today, one of the Labour MPs announced that they were stepping down similar time, and there's been a cabinet reshuffle.
Yeah. No one
article.
cares.
No one cares.
Media doesn't.
It's
Oh,
like-
and interesting because like Reddy is apparently personally a very nice guy, like really solid, very ethical kind of individual.
Well, I heard he was really respected in the media, in the medical community.
That's right.
Yeah. I mean, he studied at Harvard as well. He's got like academic
big
credentials,
dog.
right?
Yeah,
you know,
One day I'll get an honorary doctor from Harvard.
Heck yeah.
do you want it though these days? I mean,
Yeah,
I'll still take it.
yeah, I do.
I'll still
Actually.
take it. I'll still
it's like a
take
big win there, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, but I think there's one thing though that we haven't kind of like sifted through here, which is there's one thing to have National down in the polls,
Yeah,
and then who's the preferred leader, right? That's also a separate number. Yes, they're related, but are they as related as as people are saying, right? Because people are talking as if Lux-in's the problem. But is it just that Lux-in's the problem here, that his leadership is not, definitive enough, or his communication's not clear enough, or is it that there is an issue more deeply with the National Party where they are struggling to actually capitalize on their wins and make generate support from that?
they don't have a shortage of wins. They have a huge amount of wins. I think the economic recovery hasn't felt as fast as what people felt led
But
to
it's
believe.
coming. It's coming back.
yeah,
It's like everything's.
Exactly. It's not going to happen overnight, right?
We're still in the red, right?
Yeah.
And it won't, maybe, hey, if we carry on this way, we'll be in the black soon. But the point is,
Yeah, but you look at this: crime down, school attendance up, school results, reading, writing, maths up. Like there's so many metrics that they campaigned on that they are winning.
Inflation down, interest rates down,
Interest
business
rates down,
confidence
yeah.
up.
this is kind of what I was getting at. Is
Do we work for National?
Yeah.
is it actually maybe more of a problem that these votes are going to their competitors, not to the opposition, but to people who are in the same kind of bandwidth, right? But just feel like National have not been strong enough, clear enough,
Culturally.
principled enough. Like, what are their political principles here? Is it just to try and get the
It's
books back in
increasingly
order?
difficult to tell what they stand for.
Yeah, and I think that's a problem. I think that it's not. Yes, cost of living is absolutely the number one issue that people are worried about. But if it's just that, then there's all these other issues that might be considered cultural wars, but some of them are not. And I think the other parties like ACT and New Zealand First have continued to capitalise on that because they come out with very strong statements. Lux-in has to kind of hold the coalition together while they come out with strong statements. And if he wants to stay prime minister, then he can't kind of like shut them down every time they do that.
See, I thought that was part of his early genius to let David and Winston go out and speak to those cultural war issues or some of those.
Yeah. And he could still distance himself and,
he
say,
could be like,
it's part of the coalition arrangement.
agreement. Yeah, exactly. But now he should have popped up on some of these things. In the social media ban, he's taken the absolute wrong side of that debate. He didn't really come out strongly for the puberty blockers ban. That was Simeon who bore the brunt of that.
Yeah. And that's because Matt Ducey was sitting on this report for over a
How do
year.
we get rid of Matt Doozy? What's
Well,
the name?
because,
Oh my
because
gosh.
he's there because Lux-in wanted him in.
Really?
He's a
Yeah.
list
Oh, wow.
MP, and I think off
Is
the
he
last
list?
poll,
Wow.
I'm pretty sure
He's
they're
good
going to
friends with
lose
Lux-in.
14 MPs gone if they
Based on the last
based on the
numbers,
last polls,
20,
yeah.
yeah.
Mate,
Our team. Here we
do you
go.
see how when they did the State of Origin announcement and Nancy Lou did that Facebook post being like Lux-in is a real leader.
leader.
Did you see the RNZ article? It's like, yeah, all the list MPs are pretty worried because they're trying to grease them up.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
it's so funny.
That's right.
Nah, look, you
Big
can't get
loss.
rid of them pre-election. They will probably roll them very soon after. If the coalition gets back in, and I think the coalition will get back in, I think National will lose a couple of MPs.
Why at this point, if you were to take these polls as an accurate reflection of where the country's at, why do you think the coalition led by National would get back in?
Because it's easy to be dissatisfied with National right now, but then when you get to the booth and you're faced with the option of this or that, one side has something that they can show you, they're advocating for. The other side just is telling you what they don't like about the other side.
Yeah.
You know, so one side is
Also
forced,
don't have
sure.
much to show you as well,
Yeah, yeah,
except
sure.
for turds. Yeah.
But sometimes though, right? If the people that say we know how to balance the books, we know how to run, efficient companies, so we're doing it now with New Zealand, and you don't actually succeed, you don't get the books back in the black, you're still in the red. You know what I mean? Like if people are still struggling to fill the car up and still struggling to buy groceries come like October, as they're starting to think really seriously about who to vote for, I don't know. I don't know they're going to get around this. And, hey, whatever happens with Iran, clearly fuel prices are going to have that knock-on effect. Even as the price of oil is coming down now, it's like below $100 a barrel.
It's like, I think at one point it reached below 80, but 85 or so.
Yeah,
which
so,
is-
we're not in the Ukraine war kind of like territory
no.
where
Which was
oil
125 at the
skyrocketing.
high of it, yeah.
And they're back in the recession, around the time of the recession as well, we saw oil spike massively. But that's going to have an effect on people right now, especially because it has an inflationary effect, which means that the Reserve Bank gets involved and they mess around with interest rates because that's the one thing that they know how to do. And that may not be the government's fault, but people will go, who do I blame for this? My life is not better than it was when they came in. In fact, I actually feel like I'm in more difficulties now and I haven't had a chance to climb out of it. And they've had 3 years to try and fix it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying this because I'm trying to play
bit
devil's
naive,
advocate
though.
here.
Yeah. No, I know. I know.
Yeah, I mean, have there been many one-term national governments?
Let me think.
Look that up, Arian.
Hey, Jamie, pull that up.
Hey, Arian.
Well, in terms of the MMP era, coalitions have changed, and I mean you usually get like 3 Labour terms in the 2000s. Sorry, two and a bit Labour. It was 3 Labour terms in the 2000s.
It's thinking. No, there has never been a one-term right-wing national-led government in New Zealand's modern party era. In fact, all one-term governments in New Zealand have been Labour governments.
See, this is what I think. People's common sense, and this is the thing: we have to give people the benefit of the doubt. We have to believe in humanity. I think people's memories are still fresh on COVID, especially with the inquiry being released.
And great timing for the inquiry being released.
Great
They didn't do it like last year or the
And maybe that was strategic, right?
Heck yeah.
But I think people will struggle to swallow or substitute current resentment for previous resentment because in reality that they just don't see or they're not ready to forgive Labour.
Look, if oil, becomes this issue which spreads through our economy, because our economy is very dependent on the price of oil, right? Everything in our economy essentially
Every
works
economy is,
because
yeah,
of
yeah.
oil. It's not like other countries where they are somewhat energy independent, right? A certain proportion of the energy is generated, in their own oil fields, that kind of thing. We are so dependent on that. I don't know. I'm not convinced that it's favoring the coalition.
I don't think the oil thing will last very long.
You know?
That's my no. Well, it hit 100 and then Trump came out and just cleaned it up and now it's below.
See,
85.
one thing,
the magic man.
One thing
Played his
we're
magic.
forgetting
I'll tell
here-
you the story of what happened, but yeah.
one thing we're forgetting here in the MEP system, right? It's the party with the largest share of the votes that's the first opportunity to form a coalition.
Yeah.
Sorry, what was the start of that sentence?
So in MMP,
Yeah.
it's the party with the largest share of the votes,
Yes.
right? Largest proportionately,
Yeah.
that gets to initiate like a coalition.
Yeah.
Um,
Who they want to work with.
they get invited by the Governor General to form a government. The question is, if National is not number one by November, then automatically Labor gets that first crack. And if we are still struggling, and I mean struggling in the sense that interest rates have gone up, because there's real possibility that could happen.
Yeah.
I know people are saying, oh, it's unlikely, but I think that we are possibly going to see that happen in the next 2-3 months. And that's going to make a difference. If we're not seeing other indicators improving, people are just going to feel this same old. So,
in a week of inquiries, we have a COVID inquiry, but we also have the inquiry into the harms young New Zealanders face online and the role that government and business should play in addressing those harms. Another mouthful.
Big
Nailed
mouthful. Well done.
Nailed it.
Good with your mouth.
And one thing we've learned about this inquiry is they failed to inquire.
They did. Yeah.
Openly
job.
admit that they didn't do. Let me read the exact quote that Arian dug up for us, because it is great. It is just
So funny.
wouldn't it be good if they just got like 10 people from just randomly chosen from a public event? Can you please look at this? Or like 12 people, like a jury, right?
Yeah,
And go,
before the-
you guys decide for us. Let's not get people from like the Wellington Beltway kind of doing this inquiry.
So this is what they said about their inquiry. In their own words, we have not undertaken a detailed analysis of the costs and benefits of this proposal, e.g., all of the recommendations they put forward, as the government will have a far greater access to the relevant information than we do. Well, no, that's the whole point of a select committee. That's the whole point.
Of your inquiry
you do
is
the
to
work
look-
there, so the government doesn't have to do it.
And also the job of the legislator, which is these guys, is to critique and criticize the government. And so, hold on, you're missing the whole point of your job. The executive is doing its own thing. You're supposed to do your own job.
Okay, now let me add the second half of this quote. So, the government will have great access to the relevant information to do so. However, most of us support the proposal. Oh, sorry, I left out an important word. However, most of us strongly support the proposal to restrict access to social media for under 16-year-olds. So no inquiry happened in the inquiry. No inquiring. No robust or data or metric based events.
Even when a company like YouTube, who's had to go through this whole experience with the Australians, came and said, "Hey, we'll give you advice.
Can we
we'll
talk
tell
to
you about our experience with this?" No, thank you.
No, actually, we're going to talk to these ladies from Remuera and we're actually going to talk to these stay-at-home moms from Remuera. No, honestly. Well, so 9 MPs.
Stay-at-home mums. They all have nannies and au pairs and
Stay at Wellington on the.
So I should say the bottomless
Parliament.
the bottomless bunch.
Sorry, I shouldn't make it personal.
No. So listen, 9 MPs, 160K a year minimum. That's a lot of money to produce this rubbish, but they haven't actually done any of their work. This now goes to the next level, and they've endorsed the petition given to them by the 416.
Yeah.
They've said, "Oh, we agree with the petitioners. This is so good, so amazing." What are we doing, guys?
Yeah, seriously.
What is actually happening? Like, they're trying to ban social media for under 16s, which would bring in a digital ID or age verification.
And that's the
for
start
everyone.
of it. That's the start of it. When this whole thing started 8 months ago, when we first started, the stuff we were saying
7
was,
months ago,
we were saying this isn't just about a social media ban. What will inevitably happen is that they'll set up an internet regulator,
which is the suggestion.
which is exactly what they've suggested we do. And the best part, sorry, I know I've cut you off, but in one section they're like, we should do the social media ban, but we realize that there'll be some privacy risks and that most people will probably get around it. So we'll do the social media ban, but because it won't work, we'll also do a VPN ban.
Yeah.
It's like, are you hearing yourself?
So this is what it is. They're taking the internet, which we all know and love and utilize, and it's a tool that has its upsides and downsides, and we're being given an intranet, where there will be an online safety commissioner, along with new online regulation for companies who wish to participate in the new New Zealand digital landscape. And there'll be approved sites, there'll be approved news, there'll be approved connections, there'll be approved access, and anyone who refuses to participate will not be allowed to access the internet. That's the logical endpoint of this
As it
whole
develops.
initiative.
Yeah,
And we're going to run it all on a system of subjective standards that if whoever the
number of
bureaucrat in
bureaucrats,
charge is gets to decide.
I'll visit. Oh, well, I won't have to visit you. Do you reckon we can all share a cell when we get a
We'll do a podcast from a cell.
Honestly, why? I just don't understand why these people don't see the flaw in their logic and then their plan. I was talking to someone today and I said, I think actually technology is amazing. I think the digital advancement and technological advancement is incredible. And technology that's well built operates the way it's supposed to operate is awesome. But the human element, human nature is always a part of it because it has to be used or utilized by someone.
By humans.
But it's the same safety mentality, the same comfort mentality that we were just talking about with the COVID inquiry, right? Like we had a problem. What do? Well, let's just take away freedoms because people can't be trusted.
Well, freedoms are dangerous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Parents can't be trusted
Freedom
in this
is
case
dangerous, yeah.
to monitor their own kids, internet usage. Well, if that's how we're going to carry on, we're in massive trouble. I think the problem here is not just Labor, and it wasn't just their politics of the COVID era, because I mean, do we have any effective opposition through that period that really called out some of the major issues?
I wasn't
Not even the
Didn't.
likes of ACT, who are the Libertarian Party. No one kicked up a fuss about what the government was doing.
So
I
think we've got a bigger problem than just political partisan kind of views here.
It's safetyism.
It's a cultural thing. Yeah, politics is downstream of culture, and we have a weak and meaningless.
It's like no offense to all the human resource managers out there, some offense.
They're not called that anymore. I think they're called people and culture.
Yeah,
They're called
P&C now. They're not HR.
PC.
Yeah.
PNC. Illuminati.
I think it was a mistake. I think it was a mistake.
Next it'll be PCGBTQ plus. Anyway.
But no, it's that mentality, and we see it everywhere.
Yeah.
It's pervaded our culture.
Well, this idea that society and life should be safe, inconvenient, as opposed to formative and hard and rewarding, and that there's something at the end of your blood, sweat, and tears, and there's a lesson in failure. No, we would rather have everyone docile on these suppressing, drug suppressant, depression suppressant, whatever. Have you ever watched the Lewis Thoreau documentary called America's Most Drugged Family? And it's this whole family that's on different depressants, even their dog.
Oh my god!
And they're like all just like pretty much float about life, and they don't feel anything and do anything because life is just so hard for them. That's what we're trying to enforce on everybody legislatively. But then once the legislation is in, what's to stop them from saying, oh, we need a more compliant and a more complicit society? So I think we should start recommending these things.
And this is what's ironic, because people like Jonathan Haidt have helped spur the revolution in terms of the awareness of the damages of social media, right?
Yeah.
Great guy.
I'm not endorsing him anymore.
Great guy, great thinker.
I'm sick of him.
But this is the problem, is one of the key arguments that he made in order to get people to kind of wake up to this reality was we used to do things where it was managed risk, right? And we built, of risk into what we did, or we allowed risk in what we did, because we knew that it would lead to resilience and independent thinkers and, kids that could become adults that were like self-sustaining. That was used to try and get this awareness about social media with under 16s, but it's not now being incorporated into what comes next. And so we're still not dealing with the issue of kids who can be independent and resilient. And how do we make that happen? We're just saying, oh, now we see this as a problem. Let's just take the problem away and continue to manage all the risk for the kids without any plan forward.
You know what's funny is people always talk about drinking. Oh, we've got age restriction on drinking, right? Many underage drinkers in New Zealand because we have a culture of binge drinking. From my understanding, comes from an era of prohibition where there was only allowed to be alcohol sales between 5 or 6 or something like that.
Yeah,
so
era
my
call it
grew
6
up.
o'clock swill.
Yeah,
the pubs shut at an early hour, so everyone would just go in and just get as many jugs as they could and chug them back. Yeah.
So when my mum was a child, her dad was a bartender, and that's sort of the era that she grew up in. But then you look overseas at France, and we laugh about it, and it's sort of a cultural ha-ha. But they let their kids have a glass of wine quite young, and they sort of ease them into sort of this healthier relationship with alcohol because it's more of an experience, it's more of a cultural thing. In New Zealand, the second
you turn 18,
you make the first 15. No, not even 18. You make the first 15, or you turn 16 and you have a party. Your parents are a bit more loose. There's RTDs everywhere. There's beer everywhere,
and you've got 14-year-old girls comb it on the back lawn, in someone's house. Yeah,
and then even if you do wait till you're 18, say you're worried that your parents would tell you off. These people go to university. Often, many of them living in halls or in flats, and they don't know how to moderate or moderately consume alcohol, and they have these horrible experiences, and it sort of will either lead them down one of two pathways. They either fully commit to that, or it weans them off for life. And they have this sort of pivotal moment. That's what we're trying to now do with the internet. We're trying to say, kids, you can't have any interaction with these social media sites.
Right here.
You let them on at 18, and you're going to see a huge backlash and a huge adverse effect of these kids who are now given the almost most powerful communication tool that's ever existed. They're going to do all sorts of stupid rubbish. And I'm sure they'll find ways to do it anyway. But again, you create this
So, you know, there was this article that we were talking about the other day, and it was from the UK. And basically, interestingly, the Labour minister, who's obviously in charge, was saying this is not going to work to have a complete ban. We need a more sort of sophisticated approach to this. And it wasn't just the Lib Dems who are typically like the safetyism, you know, crowd, but it was also the Conservative MPs that were saying this is terrible. We need a ban. You know, just can't have kids exposed to any of this. Like, again, we understand the sentiment where it's coming from, the worry, but it's not a solution. I thought it was interesting, at least that the Labour minister had sort of pointed this out.
It's this thing that people are wearing as like a badge of honor. Yeah, these are the same people who, in their minds, they're standing up to the Nazis. You know what I mean? And it's the whole thing of like, if I was around back then, I would have stood up to the Nazis.
No, you wouldn't have.
On the balance of probability, you wouldn't have, because so few people did.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Enough, yeah.
So to now be like, well, we're advocating for children. Okay, go to the lithium mines and get all the millions of children who are mining lithium for the smartphone that you're tweeting that off. Go and help those children. Or go and get all the sex slaves out of Asia. How about that? What are we doing here?
Oh, I mean, you know, it's like this the move in Indonesia as well, right? The government there want to ban social media for under 16s. And what was the line from the article? It sums up what's happening in Western
it's just
countries.
the undergrounding ethos of all of this, which is co-parenting with the government. It reads, the government is stepping in so that parents no longer have to fight alone against the giants of algorithm-driven platforms. With government regulations like this, it really helps ease our worries as parents, she said, adding, I'm confident that the government's decision will ultimately bring positive benefits for both children and parents.
So is this from Indonesia?
There's an Indonesian report, yeah. What are they doing in Indonesia? Why are you not looking after our own child?
But that's the thing. They're looking at Western policymakers and going, oh, this is a good idea. Let's copy it.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to say that they're incompetent and you know,
just everyone in Indonesia. You're making a generalization, aren't you?
No. As in, sorry, it just sounded like you were saying like they look up to us in Indonesia. Would you say they look up to us?
Oh, I think
In the West?
in some
culture.
things, in some things.
Yeah.
But no, for sure. Because you see, the people that you know draw up policies in just about any country in the world,
look to
they typically have had some form of Western influence education.
Yeah.
So they do still look at like London, you know, US,
the UK, Harvard.
You know what I mean? Like they're still looking at these
Right,
Western
that makes
institutions and Western governments and saying, "Oh, this is an interesting policy. Let's implement it."
And wealthy and
Sure.
doing well for themselves.
That doesn't mean that the general populace are actually thinking that way. But it's a conservative society, Indonesia, right, for the most part,
Muslim,
because of it's a Muslim nation. And so there is a tendency also to want to try and shelter kids from certain things that the conservative culture doesn't want them exposed to.
You know what I think we should do if this goes past, you know, they pass the ban? We should start a campaign that removes all of the parent control tools on social media, because if all the children are now off social media, we don't need parent control tools on there. And then what will happen? All the mums will be up in arms. No, keep them on. Because they know that their children are getting around it.
So it'd be the same as let's get rid of all airbags since we have speed limits.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Oh, get rid of. Oh, if your policy idea is so good,
no airbags. The guys that I've spoken to recently about it, who are in the space advocating for digital ID and even endorsing a ban, one of them said something really interesting: is these organizations like Facebook and YouTube, they have all of our data, but they're not being responsible with how they moderate content. And I said to him, I said, what do you mean by moderate content? Like, what are you talking about? Are you talking about filtering for specific topics? I said, because illegal stuff we can act upon. That's what the chief censor's for. That's what the classifications office is for. That exists and it's clearly defined in our regulation and what's legal and illegal. I was like, but what do you mean moderate the content? And he was like, well, you know, moderate the content. And I said, yeah, but that's all subjective, because what's hateful and harmful to you might be lovely to me. And I said to him, I said, is it a hate crime if I love doing it? And he was like, I can't believe you said that. But it's true. You know what I mean? Like, how can you prove my intention? How can you prove my motive? A crime is a crime. If I shoot someone, that's called murder.
It's their definition of something,
Yeah. And that's what I was trying to explain to someone the other day. If I punch you, I didn't hate punch you. I assaulted you.
Yeah.
It's a crime.
go to jail for assault.
Yeah. And the only time intention really makes a difference is the difference between, I guess, murder and manslaughter, right?
Yeah, the severity of the consequence. Yeah.
It's like, was it first degree? Was it second degree? Was it manslaughter? Was the intention to harm someone? And you can gauge that and use the discernment there as a judge.
And I think that's it. Someone commits murder. There's clearly anger or something like that is
Or is it
clearly a
an act of
component, right?
passion?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. But the fact that you're angry because you just don't like their personality, as opposed to, I didn't like them because of the color of their skin or because of their religious beliefs. Yeah.
Don't ever
But the point
say it
is,
ever again,
either
man.
way, you lost control.
Yeah.
And that's the problem.
Yeah.
Which is what, like, in the end, does it matter that much that your problem with that person?
Yeah, what was the specific issue? They're dead.
So, oh no,
that's
because
the real problem.
well,
right
people
now.
will say, oh no, because it has to do with, like, you don't want that.
But he's a
kind of-
racist.
yeah, you don't want that culture of racism to take root. What? Because, like, everyone's going to go around and say, I wish I was like that murderer.
This is sort of, I guess, the thing. Trust in our fellow human, trust in our institutions, trust in our system, trust in the process of democracy is at an all-time low, I think. I saw this study that released from the US. So this is not related to New Zealand at all. I don't know where New Zealand ranked. But the US, for the first time ever, they did the survey where the result was that majority of Americans don't believe that their fellow citizen is a good person.
Really?
Yeah.
Whoa.
RNZ put it out, I think 2 days ago I saw it. Or a
That's
day ago.
gnarly.
And that's crazy. I mean, like, we live in a time where we've forgotten to give people the benefit of the doubt, to believe in the goodness of people. And, like, we just need to get back to that. We need to, maybe the world is too big. Maybe the internet has made the world too big. Maybe we need to get back to community and to knowing your neighbor, things like that. But the answer is not to ban all of this technology now. It's to figure out how to integrate with it properly. Anyway, that's my
Well said.
TED talk.
Have you heard of anti-fragile theory?
I've heard of white fragility.
Probably
It was
different.
about resilience. How do you build
Yeah, it's like there are certain things that when they face resistance, they actually grow. So other things like if glass faces resistance, it just breaks.
Yeah.
But if your muscles, when they face resistance, over time it grows.
Yeah, this is how you beat your kid, they'll become better.
Yes, exactly where I was going. yes. Child abuse. No.
Right.
But it's this idea that actually the human spirit, when faced with difficulty and resilience, if orientated appropriately, can actually grow and become stronger.
So yeah, whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
That's a song, isn't it?
It's a
What
saying,
doesn't
Oh.
kill you?
but
Who
people
sings
have
that?
used it in their
Katy
songs.
Perry.
That's not Katy Perry, is it?
It's the only woman I listen to, other than my mum. But yeah, it's just this idea that we should put glad wrap around everyone.
And I think that's something
Bubble wrap, as they
that
say.
everyone considered like a universal truth. At least when I was a kid.
Anyway, gentlemen, Nick, mate, it's just good to see you. I'm glad we're wearing the matching hat. I'm going to go out there. I'm going to go on a limb. Hat's available next week.
Oh,
Hat's available on the website next week. We've been
let's
waiting
do it.
to put them up until we had a gap in the schedule, but we've got a gap.
They're good caps too.
You have to stretch them in.
Yeah, but I've got used to mine, and I really
I'm
like
wearing
it.
a large. You're wearing a large.
Yeah.
There's large, extra large, and then there's small, medium. They are a snugger fit. They're not a snapback. Let me show you what you've got. It is a fitted, but it's a flex fit. So it wears in a bit, which is good. And we promise whatever hat we send you will not be coughed on by Arian.
Unless you request it, which I'll happily do.
Yeah.
Anything, I'll kiss it if you want as well.
Anyway, man, why do we let this guy have a microphone? This guy's is always on the hectic vibes.
There's always a
Just
class
you wait,
clown.
you might get some requests.
Yeah, okay.
There's always a class clown.
I have people
Just
say
if
that
I'm not in the
Arian is their favorite.
Yeah, I get that all the time. My
Yeah.
family tell me that all the time.
Yeah, my sister wrote that on one of our posts.
I'm like,
God,
Based
just-
on what?
Just trying to add some
based on what?
Can we
Yeah,
can we just also put out there?
biggest eyebrows.
Are we getting the t-shirts made? Is it a hate crime if I love doing it?
I'm open to
Um,
that. Yeah.
I would say-
Arian's scared of wearing it in public.
Yeah, I probably would be very reluctant to wear it.
I've had
I'll be
so
honest.
many people saying they want it.
I get the point of it and I get the joke, but I
Yeah.
think a lot of people won't. And,
Yeah, that's
and
funny
yes,
though.
it could be. I know, and it could be a good conversation starter, but you may not get that response from people that you need.
Whatever
to have
happens
the conversation.
by consequence of you wearing it is your responsibility. It's not our, whatever happens.
Nah, we'll stand with you.
We'll stand with you, but I mean,
Unless you commit an actual crime. Now, I've had 5 people reach out. 5. I'm gonna, and that's not
I
a
had like
huge,
6
that's
or
not a
7.
huge
Yeah,
amount.
yeah.
Oh, so there we go. We're getting up there. Any from you?
What?
Anyone reached out about the t-shirts to you? We're between us. We've got
I've
11.
had a few comments from people I know saying, "What's the purpose behind this?"
Okay, 20 people. Let's say conservatively 20
Yeah.
pre-orders. If you do a pre-order, we will. The hat's definitely up. The pins up.
No. I don't mean that they were saying that they wanted a T-shirt.
We'll give them one. We'll get them out.
The whole point of it is that it's a crime regardless. It doesn't matter if it's a hate crime or a love crime. You know what I mean?
A crime of love. Anyway, hats up on the website.
There's
next
a whole
week.
podcast is
Oh,
us
the
just explaining
website.
cultural
We should have
references
like
to
a
Ari.
montage of, have you not? Oh, just at the end of the year or something. Just every time.
Waste my time. Waste my energy. Any final word from you now that we've come to
I
the end of the road?
I think the Iran conflict, I think, it ain't over yet, and it's going to take a while for it to be resolved in any kind of way that lets the rest of the world kind of get on with where we were at before it started. But anyway, that was my final thought.
To our international man,
thoughts?
Mr. Worldwide.
You don't have final thoughts?
No, my thoughts are just like I just
Yeah,
want to be a little bit. I
please,
just want to be a bit
please.
vulnerable for you guys.
Aw.
This is the highlight of my week most weeks. Sitting down talking to you guys. I know we talk more than outside of this podcast, but grateful to have you guys that I get to
It's
work
your
with.
professional highlight, right?
What I
Because
was
you
gonna-
know
what I was
your
gonna
wife
say.
and kids, obviously, that's where you
Yeah.
have the most meaningful conversations in your week, right?
No, yeah,
Mate,
sure.
I'm throwing you a lifeline
but-
here.
no, but-
take it.
You know, when I was a kid, I remember loving what my dad did for work
Aw.
and being really interested in it. Ezra told me when I die that he's going to take over Pillar. So, so they're engaged in the work. But I think it's because you guys are.
Please don't
colleagues
fire
and-
me, Ezra. Please don't fire me.
Yeah,
Please
he's
don't
going to
fire-
be. He's a dictator, mate. He's
Yeah.
going to be a dictator.
He's going to watch some episodes.
Don't
of
fire me,
The
please.
Apprentice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this, you better
You're fired.
polish up on your Pokemon knowledge. He's all
Or
about Pokemon.
jujitsu,
But anyway,
you're
I'm
just
just grateful for
taking
you guys.
Thanks,
Some really
Nathan.
quick things I wanted to let you know is we've got over 10,000 supporters now. I was looking at some of our numbers the other day. So thank you to everyone. We're at 10,798, I believe, in the first 6 months of Pillar. It's amazing. We've had more than 50 unique givers to Pillar who make this whole thing possible. So thank you to all of them. If you
so
want to
much.
contribute, you can do so at our website. We have had, obviously, 58 media mentions, 3 select committee submissions, a piece of draft legislation that we put forward. We engaged 615 students, 317 of which subscribed to Know More. And we've got 5 events at uni this
Here we
year.
go.
Mate,
On
these,
fire.
These
What
are
a
the numbers,
legend.
mate.
Here
And it's
we
all
go.
in 6 months. I
Red hot.
talked to someone who really believes in Pillar, who's invested. I said, what's some feedback that we can tell other people who might want to be involved in investing in Pillar? He said, look, I never imagined you would achieve so much in such a short period of time. He's like, oh, you've still got a lot that you could do and that you are doing. He's like, but what you've done in 6 months is pretty impressive. So, no, thank you to everybody who's contributed and thank you to everyone who listens. Now let me throw to Mr. Worldwide, Mr. International, Mr.
International.
Eyebrows.
Thank you all for watching. Thank you for listening. We'll see you soon. And goodbye.
Oh,
That's it.
That was
Stay in
tidy.
touch.
that was a
Stay in
radical
touch.
departure from the usual sign off.
Yeah. It's because I forgot the actual line. But that was such a nice thing. I just thought, just
Okay.
clean
All
it
right.
up. Finish.